handful of GOP lawmakers broke with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who on Monday dismissed Russia's invasion as a, quote, territorial dispute and said defending Ukraine was not a vital interest of the United States.
Where's the lie? They be presenting these info like, oh my God, he told the truth about this. How dare he? So funny when they do that. Oh shit.
It's not a territorial dispute in the sense that any
Marco
more
Rubio.
than it would be a territorial dispute if the United States decided that it wanted to invade Canada or take over the Bahamas.
Yes, that's really how dumb our opposition is, guys. That's how much they lack historical context. And they ignore the fact that there's been a conflict that was provoked by the United States since 2014 in Ukraine. And so, in this example that he gives, he said, this being a territorial dispute would be the same as the United States invading Canada. Well, the problem is, where's the recent conflict between the United States and Canada? Where's the Civil War in Canada? Where's the hostile power? Where's China? Where's Russia, the DPRK, anyone, Iran? Is there oppositional powers in Canada that's propping up a resistance movement, a fascist movement in Canada? Like these are the contexts that will make this analogy make sense. But I think someone want to chime in. Go ahead, Andrew. I think we're Andrew, right?
Yeah, or I was just going to chime in, or where's the couple of 100 years where Canada and the United States were the same country under multiple different governments?
Yes,
there's just no comparison.
Literally no comparison at all. And this is the dumb, ridiculous shit that Ukraine flag wavers and pro-war neocons like Marco Rubio say that does not stand to scrutiny, which is why you never see the NATO left want to debate us on this. This is why you see AOC run like a coward when Marjorie Taylor Greene called her out for a debate. Because imagine this issue comes up and you got someone like DeSantis and Trump and these right-wingers who, because this issue is easy to get right, they get it right because of that. Not because they're enlightened. It's not a hard issue to get right. So how do you defend that coming from Bernie Sanders' position when you got a quote-unquote right-wing populist grilling you on this? How do Marco Rubio deal with someone like Tucker Carlson grilling him on this issue? I would love to see that. Marco Rubio and Tucker Carlson defending his Ukraine position. He will fold because they use lies. They use false analogies. Just comparing the United States invading Canada to Ukraine and Russia, ignoring all the historical context here, ignoring NATO encroachment is beyond ridiculous. But I'll let the video continue and feel free to just interrupt, guys, and I can pause if you guys want to chime in with something.
Then it would be a territorial dispute if the United States decided that it wanted to invade Canada or take over the Bahamas. Just because someone claims something doesn't mean it belongs to them. This is an invasion.
I just think that's a misunderstanding of the situation. This is not a territorial conflict. This is war of aggression. I think Governor Florida's been a great governor, but in my opinion, if you don't get Ukraine right, this is a chance to stop Putin before it gets to be a bigger war.
I would not agree.
This is a chance to stop Putin before it becomes a bigger war. Said the people who are provoking Russia into a nuclear war. What they're saying makes no sense. Lindsey Graham said these people have poor reading of the situation. Said the people who have absolutely no historical facts or logic on their side. They just say U.S. propaganda jingoisms here. There's nothing that makes sense. Just the talking points. If we don't stop Russia now, man, it's going to lead to a greater war later. How about we stop NATO? Eastern expansion. That will stop the aggression. As you guys are bombing pipelines, people like China is making peace. And everyone else sees it. Let's continue. This video is really hard to get through. Very, very hard video to get through. Let's try, though.
With them on that, I think it's pretty clear. Historically speaking, the importance of keeping Vladimir Putin in his lane.
Most certainly, it is of concern to me. We've got a number of individuals who are looking, I think, at the 2024 race, and we'll find out whether or not the rest of them feel the same way.
So now you got these Republicans who've been in hiding, who got the order from the weapon defense contractors who fund their campaign. You come out and defend this war right now. I would love to be in some of these private meetings, read some of these emails, because I think there is panic going on in the Republican establishment that leads these people to come out and say this stuff that they've been avoiding saying. Like Tucker has been anti-Ukraine war forever. You had Trump talking about Ukraine forever. Now the heat is on. Now these people have to come out and rebuke DeSantis. It says everything. And Lindsey Graham said, he's like, if you want to be president, you got to get this issue right because it's a uniparty. You can't cross the military-industrial complex. You can't cross the U.S. empire if you ever wish to be president in this country. They're saying the quiet part out loud.
Senator Graham, who you just heard there, also had this to say: the Neville Chamberlain approach to aggression never ends well, comparing DeSantis to the British Prime Minister who appeased Adolf Hitler. This is an attempt by Putin to rewrite the map of Europe by force of arms. Meanwhile, Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas tells Politico, I am disturbed by it. I think he's a smart guy. I want to find out more about it, but I hope he feels like he doesn't need to take that Tucker Carlson line to be competitive in the primary.
Yes,
it's
he does.
important for us to continue to support Ukrainians for our own security. And John Hellman, a number of different things here. But,
yes, indeed.
That's the guy. This is the guy. And the funny thing, I never noticed it until the Russell Brand video. Remember the Russell Brand destroyed the MSNBC guy on Bill Maher? That's the fucking guy. Now I can't unsee it. Watch this propagandist in action. Watch this propagandist.
So many different places to go here, but let's start with Ron DeSantis, who sounds so Trumpy.
Trumpy.
Well, yeah, first of all, let's start with this.
Calling for peace is now Trumpy. According to the liberal establishment, Democrats lost their goddamn mind. Calling for, are they going to run on this? If they do, they're going to get mollywopped. Imagine Andrew, Zoya, and Jay, the Democratic Party run on a call for peace being Trumpian. You got Bernie Sanders getting speeches like, oh my God, Donald Trump and DeSantis is pro-Trump and pro-Putin because they want to end the war in Ukraine. They're going to get destroyed with this messaging. Let's continue.
Governor DeSantis, welcome to the NFL. The United States Senate filled with people who either run for president, like Lindsey Graham, or think they could be or should be president, like almost everybody else in the United States Senate. All of them welcoming the what they see as the provincial semi-hick governor from Florida to what they think of as their province, and sort of saying, hey, you might want to like read a couple foreign policy, at least white papers and some history before you start talking in the context of international security. So there's a little bit of that, first of all. Second,
you guys hear what he just said? You guys see the worship of the establishment that comes from these people? He said these Sanders are pretty much showing Ron DeSantis what the national stage is like. That if you get the foreign policy stuff wrong, they will criticize them. So you got these Democrat establishment shills that are now propping up Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, and saying that and pretending that American people actually care about their opinions. Andrew, I see you on mute. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say the other part that stuck out to me is that, I think this guy is probably actually too stupid to know that Ron DeSantis was a military human rights attorney who basically was hired to cover up torture programs in Iraq and Guantanamo Bay. So there's not many senators or governors who probably are more familiar with what actually the military and foreign policy of the U.S. is than Ron DeSantis. Right. But this guy either doesn't know that because he's a fucking idiot, or he actually doesn't want you to know that. And instead, he's going to paint Ron DeSantis as a semi-hick. Yeah, he's a semi-hick governor. More than anything else, this guy loves his padded position in the professional managerial class for contributing absolutely nothing of value to society. So he's going to make fun of Ron DeSantis because he seems like maybe he doesn't come from my caste in society.
And thing is, like, Ron DeSantis is as bourgeoisie as it gets. But this guy is so this dude is so classist. It doesn't matter if you're bourgeoisie in Florida. If you anyone in Florida as a hick, that's next level hatred and love of your class, that even someone who is bourgeoisie like Ron DeSantis is not good enough for you because you view anyone in the South as hicks, uneducated hicks. And the other assumption here, which is hilarious, is that he assumes and presents the idea that people like Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham are actually sitting there pondering on a globe in a strategic table, actually looking at Ukraine and Russia, understanding the history. These Sanders and the people in charge are the dumbest people. The least intellectually curious people. They are told their positions. They are given a script and they read this shit. Do you guys really believe Marco Rubio is sitting there, what are the geopolitical ramifications of expanding NATO? How can we achieve peace in Ukraine? How can we win this war? Marco Rubio not thinking shit. But he presented this information like, hey, welcome to the big leagues. If you want to be a senator, you got to be well-read. The exact opposite. The dumbest people are senators and politicians. It's Hollywood for ugly people. That's the amount of benefit doubt and amount credit that I give politicians, right? Let's continue the clip unless you guys want to interrupt.
Do you mind if I get a word in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just interrupt, guys. It's all good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the one thing I wanted to say, though, like I wanted to say this earlier, but all of these motherfuckers, they pretend like as if all this whole shit started literally in February of 2022.
Yes.
No, it did not. It started back in like 2014 and arguably even earlier. So you guys are literally just going to pretend that,
Yes.
Ukraine was just not bombing the Donbass for the past 8 to 9 years. And on top of that, there was a hashtag going around that said, I think I can't remember exactly, but it went something like, "Where were you for the past 8 years?"
Yes.
And that got flagged as Russian propaganda.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!
That got flagged as Russian propaganda.
This
war started. Well, it got started. I think it got started before that too. But to talk about the backstory of this war, just to say that Putin woke up one day and I'm gonna invade Ukraine. It is what it is. Here's my army, whatever. And people actually fucking believe that fucking bullshit. And not understand the historical context of everything. It's just that's what these guys are going with, and that's the one thing that Trump touched on, kind of, sort of, more than anybody else, more than DeSantis, more than any other person running the GOP primary. Because that's the one thing with Trump. He will he will fucking push any limits he needs to if he thinks it'll be an advantage for him. Yeah. And Trump is a piece of shit. So I just want to be clear.
That's why I don't believe it, because Trump want to win so bad, bro. He say whatever. That's why I don't
exactly. Yeah.
He's not analyzing this shit. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not weighing on his heart. He sees the opportunity, he's taking. That's just my position. We see if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I learn from it. But that's my position. I'm pretty confident in that. Let's pull this back up. There we go. I'm getting better at producing shit, fam. Leave a like and subscribe, guys. This is a fun conversation. Let's continue this video. We want to watch a few more of this. We got quite a few receipts. So hopefully you guys are good for 90 minutes. I think we're good for 90 minutes today. Because we got another segment or two. Let's continue here.
Second of all, it's hilarious to see people. Lindsey Graham says this is the Neville Chamberlain approach. Somebody else, one of the other senators there, I think Cornyn maybe said, I hope he doesn't take the Tucker Carlson line. You'll note none of them are saying what is also true. I hope he doesn't take the Donald Trump line, because that is really kind of what all this is about, is Ron DeSantis. I don't want to say the words right flank, because those words don't mean anything anymore in the Republican Party, but let's say the MAGA flank. Ron DeSantis wanting to make sure that if he's going to be the guy who's going to be one-on-one with Donald Trump,
and these pathetic liberals keep using these words that make no sense, like MAGA wing of the party. You got Biden that keeps saying stuff like MAGA Republicans. I have a question for you guys. What the fuck is a MAGA Republican? You mean the Republican Party? Why do they keep separating? And then they pretend the other faction has any sort of support by doing that. By saying there's a MAGA wing, and they always pretend like, oh my God, there's the Mike Pence wing, the Mike Pompeo wing. Nigga, that shit does not exist. There are Trump, then there are DeSantis, then there are people who like DeSantis and Trump, there are people who like Trump and DeSantis. There's that clip that came on Fox News that was viral where this guy went to this DeSantis heavy area and he was like, who do you guys want? You guys want DeSantis, right? They was like, I kind of like both. I kind of lean toward Trump. So the party is people who like Trump and DeSantis. They live in this fantasy land where never Trump Republicans like Liz Cheney still have any fucking say in the party. I just want to point out. Let's continue. I tell you, me and CJ, we watch this shit. This shit is hilarious to us. It's unbelievable that people watch this shit as news. Can't even make through 3 minutes without explaining to you guys why this shit is horse shit.
On issues like this, there's no daylight between him and Trump on issues that resonate with the MAGA part of the base. Donald Trump.
The MAGA part of the base. You mean the people who vote for them? You guys start seeing like they trying to pretend that Trump is doing something that's off the mainstream. No, DeSantis and Trump is doing this because this is popular among Republican voters because most Americans are now asking questions about the Ukraine war. And you guys got to use a lot of wheezy words to get out of the fact that your position is not popular.
Same thing, maybe in slightly different terms, different words that Ron DeSantis would say about Ukraine, because that is where a lot of the MAGA base is skeptical about U.S. involvement in this dispute, about spending money on this dispute, and so you have Ron DeSantis trying to make sure there's no daylight between him and Trump. The problem is that a lot of the United States senators here are willing to criticize DeSantis or anybody.
Who gives a shit? You guys see the bubble that he lives in? So most people are turning against the Ukraine war show by polling, especially Republicans. So what he is saying is, yeah, I know the people are against the Ukraine war, but man, I don't know they'll handle the scrutiny of these Republicans who are deeply unpopular. Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
I was going to say he just agreed with you. He's like, yeah, it's. I guess this is happening because most of the Republican base are asking questions now because they're idiots. I guess that's his point.
Yes.